you need to do is capture the mission
Hey, how's it
area.
going?
Got it?
This is LT. I know y'all clicked on the video for some tips, and we're gonna get right into it. So I'm a GM. Now I may be not top five, but I mean I know what I'm doing. So for my first tip, I say okay. Tip number one: learn multiple characters in each category. This is very important because realistically, you can play any character
Looks like the mission area is
that you
yours to
want,
capture
and
now.
it will fit it may not fit the meta, but every character in the game has a spot in comp. Now, you don't need to play meta characters in order to get higher rank, but it is recommended because majority of the time people are playing meta characters. But on the off chance that your main is getting banned, like Hela or Hawkeye or Banner or Luna, you have to have a substitute that you are equally good with in order to play at that higher level. Tip number two, pay attention to cooldowns. What I mean by this is if you are paying attention to your team's cooldowns, you'll know what they have, and it could enable you to either push up, get a pick, back up, or enable you to set the standard on who we're gonna who the team might focus for that second. Say we have say we have a Loki with his healing ability.
More than half of the
Maybe you
mission
want to
area.
push
Keep
up,
going.
get a Loki clone on you so you can enable a kill on a Luna that's half in the back. That's what I mean. And if you are paying attention to the enemy's cooldowns, then you'll know what they have so you can use your cooldowns to either get a pick, set a pick, or finish off an enemy. But tip number three, play around your team. No matter what you do, no matter what role you are, you need to pay attention to where your team is at, their positioning, and know where you need to be, or enable it. If you are a tank, say you're on front line and you're doing what you need to do, but you need to back up for a second because what they have is too overwhelming, and
We are
your team is
unstoppable.
struggling to either keep heals or deal damage. Knowing what your team is doing and knowing where your team is very important to how you play comp. Comp is not just a go in and win. It is a lot more strategic than just quick play. When quick play is just a get in, get out, or just you win or lose. Tip number four: don't be selfish. Play what your team needs. If you have 3 DPS, 2 support, and 1 tank, and the tank keeps constantly dying because of the damage and focus, then you need to switch to a tank to help compensate for the lack of frontline because of the overwhelming DPS that you have. Or if there is a certain healer that gets an increased healing, let's say Luna, and you are playing Psylocke when there's a Spider-Man already, then realistically and honestly, Namor would probably be a good option because one, Namor is really slept on and it goes very well with Luna and gives her a bonus and gives you a buff with a third ability. I cannot stress it enough. Play with synergy. Synergy is always good. There's never a bad time for his synergy. If you want to play in high ranks, having a good comp is a crucial part of playing comp. But tip number five: do not get tilted. No matter what the circumstances are, if you get tilted, you will undoubtedly play worse. There's no circumstance where you are upset and mad and you'll play better unless it's like somebody's BMing and you're not trying hard enough and then you go try hard. I mean, realistically, in a high ranking comp, you should be trying anyway, so that's not even an excuse. But I cannot stress it enough. By any means, don't get tilted. Tip number six: if someone is being toxic Ignore them and avoid as teammate. There is nothing, I understand there's nothing more aggravating than a teammate either throwing or being toxic. But the best way to deal with those types of teammates is to either prove them wrong through gameplay and win the game, or just,
30 seconds before you attack.
you know,
Get
just
ready.
take the loss if it's that like bad. And realistically, you should just avoid them as a teammate or just block them after the fact. Because if they're throwing your MR now, they're definitely going to throw your MR either in the lower ranks when you see them again, or in the higher ranks if they are somehow still there. You know what I mean? So just
Battle starts in
ignore
5, 4,
and avoid as a teammate after.
1.
Tip
All you
number
need to do is capture the mission area.
7.
Got it?
This is the most important tip. Practice your craft. There's nothing you can do to be a high-ranking player if you don't practice your craft. If you play a certain way, I promise you there are at least 3 to 4 heroes that fit that playstyle and gives you the opportunity to learn different characters
Looks like the mission
with
area is yours
with
to
that
capture
same
now.
playstyle. If you do not practice your craft and you do not practice and get better with that character or learn the intricate details on like combos of that character, you will not be good in the higher ranks. Knowing what your character can do and the limits of your character will dictate how good you can be and how good you will be in the high ranking MR.
Judge, jury, executioner.
Tip number 8. Learn playstyles. Learn every single playstyle in the game, whether that's very detailed or just knowing like how they operate. If you learn how to play backline flank, then you will understand when there's an enemy on your team that's what they're going to be doing, and you need to force them to switch it up to your comfortability.
Hello there.
Say there's a Spider-Man always pushing your backline, and they keep getting the support. You switch to a character that counters Spider-Man, which there isn't that much, but and force him to play a certain way. If you can force him to play a certain way, it always levels in your field and you'll always have the advantage. Or say that there's a frontline advantage with overwhelming DPS with like a Namor and a Storm or something. Switch to somebody that has a little bit more range, like a Star-Lord or a Hela if she's not banned, or Hawkeye if he's not banned. And make sure you deal with the Storm and make sure you capitalize off of overextensions and poor positioning on other people. Tip number 8. Find at least 1 or 2 people to play with. That is very important. You cannot just, you can solo queue, but it will be a whole lot harder and a whole lot more stressful if you just solo queue and not get anybody else to help you. Now, what I mean by getting 1 to 2 people is find somebody or get your friend to play your support or your tank that goes with your character that you are playing. In my instance, I have a friend that plays support and tank. He's right now in the game using Raccoon, and every time he has his infinite, he lets me know, and I tell him when to place it down so it could benefit the pick. As you can see sometimes in this video, almost every single time that he places down that infinite, I'm always getting a pick or 2. Communication between you, your duo or trio, whatever the case may be, or the entire team is very important to how you succeed in the game. The more players you can talk to and you are comfortable with and know their play style, the easier it is going to play the game, and the better it is for your gameplay.
Your powers are mine.
For tip 10, the final tip,
Are undefeatable.
arguably the most important or second most important tip, in a team-based game, communication. Communicate. There's nothing better you can do as a high-ranking player than playing good and communicating. If you communicate to your team what is happening and who has what and what enemy has cooldown, you will capitalize off of every opportunity. Here, I'm calling out that Raccoon is top left. I get a little bit of help right there. And I say focus Thor. Everybody start shooting him. There is nothing more you can do than to basically lead your team with communications. Tell them about cooldowns. Tell them about people overextending. Tell them about you don't have a certain cooldown. Tell them about people that have bad position. Tell them to focus. Try to be that leader a team needs in order to get the picks and secure the win. At the end of the day, this is a team-based game, and communication is a very key point of a team-based game. No communication, you can have the 10 best players in the world and the 10 most communicative players in the world be at the same rank, and the communicative players will win that game. Without a doubt. But with those 10 tips, I would like to see y'all in higher ranks. I hope to see y'all on the leaderboard. Thank you for clicking on this video. If you liked it, please don't. If you liked the video, please subscribe. Please leave a like. Let me know what I could have missed in the comments. And I appreciate y'all watching the video. I love y'all. Stay safe. God loves y'all.